It's been shared online, so I'll have to go through this protocol. All visitors will sign in the visitor book. The entrance at Kilcraigs. There's no planned fire evacuation drill or alarm test today. If the fire alarm is activated during the visit, you must exit the building immediately. The council officers will direct you to the nearest fire exit and will escort visitors to the building fire assembly point beside the silver man at the top of Parliament Walk. Don't take staff to the boat to the floor's assembly point. Should remain at the assembly point until directed to reoccupy the building and only re-enter once the fire marshal has advised it's safe to do so. Please do not attempt to leave the site by vehicle until cleared to do so by the fire marshal to ensure access routes are kept clear for emergency vehicles. Please note that this is a public meeting and that members of the public may be in attendance. The meeting will be recorded by the clerk and published online for public viewing. The taking of photographs, including screenshots, audio or video recordings, are not permitted during meetings unless with express permission of myself. Can members attend virtually activating the cameras where possible to enable you to join by video, and can all attendees mute the microphones when not speaking. Please do not come in during the items unless I invite you to do so. Members attending virtually wish to speak on any point, please indicate by clicking on the raise your hand button. Members in the chamber should also raise their hand, and I will bring you in at an appropriate time. Members will not be able to access all papers for the meeting, please indicate. But meeting will go. And are there any declarations of interest? Well, I got through it, I'm interested. Declaration interested.
Yes, we've got four apologies. Four apologies. Councillor Clarkey, Lee, Keogh and Lindsay. Got four members here, so
Okay. All of you.
good morning, Mr. Chairman. This is a single matter today we're hearing, and it is a premises licence review application in relation to the Eagle Inn in Tilcook. If I could first draw your attention to an error in my report and ask that the minute reflect that it's amended. In paragraph 18, the statement in paragraph 18 says, in the event that the licensing board agrees with the suggestion in paragraph 12, recommended is a premise license. That should refer to paragraph 17. Paragraph 18 should refer to paragraph 17 rather than paragraph 12. And I apologise for that error. And get the proofreading staff these days. However, this is a fairly straightforward matter, very much a matter for the board to consider what appropriate action is taken. As the board will be aware, every year 130 something premises in Clackmannanshire have been due to pay an annual fee. The fee is due on the 1st of October of every year, and each year we have a number of stragglers and late payments, which we go down the route of taking the route of reminders. We are advised in advance, normally a month in advance of the due date of the payment, the amount of that payment, and they're given a list of options for the methods to pay that payment. In this case, we've had no communication whatsoever with the Eagle Inn and the licence holder. We have a company called WAL Public House Limited. They show on the licence as the last notified address to us as Albert House, 308 Albert Drive in Glasgow. All communications to that address have either been returned as not at this address, or alternatively, the most recent communication, which was a recorded delivery, is still showing as uncollected. In addition to that, where premises are closed, and those premises have been closed for a significant period of time, in excess of 2 years, I believe. Where premises are closed, we also leave communication of anything that they deliver to them at the premises, just in the case that the owners are then collecting mail, which you would expect with a wide licensed premises, you would expect that. In any case, the annual fees have been set and been payable in this method since 2009 when the legislation changed, and every licence holder has been well aware that it's a condition of their licence that all fees must be paid. It's within the mandatory conditions of every premises licence. We have over the years shown a degree of tolerance to late payment and have found ourselves mopping up late payments in January and February on a regular basis, but where we're still a chance of we continue with that tolerance, and likewise this year it is likely we're in a much better place, but we will continue to be tolerant where there's a chance of collecting that fee. However, in this case, as you can see, there is a history of non-payment. I serve a notice, a statutory notice, because it's a breach of a licence condition to fail to pay the fee. So serve notice on the premises. The notice has never been collected in terms of the recorded delivery version, was left at the premises, and the notice, the terms of which you can see in the appendix to my report, that they pay the annual fee within 7 days that we've reviewed the terms of the notice, and that fee still remains unpaid as of today's date. In terms of the history of non-payment, 2020-2021 year, the fee would have been due on the 1st of October 2020, and I can find no record of that fee having been paid at all. And the last communication appears to be a final reminder sent to them on the 3rd of February 2021. The follow-up on that may well have taken place, I just can find no records of it. I expect it probably has been paid, but certainly hadn't been paid prior to February 2021, which is obviously a significant period away. That any communication at that time would have been accompanied by a reminder that the future years that must be paid in time yet, 2021, 2022. The fee was not paid until after 2 reminders were sent, and it was the 31st of December before it was paid. And that was off the back of a threat of enforcement action, where on effectively the period between Christmas and New Year, we were threatened with we were advised that a notice would be served that would prevent them making further sales of alcohol. And I believe they were possibly trading at that time in 2021. And that may well have been the last time, or around about the last time they were open. In 2022, 2023, again, the fee would have been due on the 1st of October 2022. It was not finally collected until July 2023, which is only a few months ago, in the grand scheme of things. And that was collected after communication with what was the legal representative saying, we still don't have this fee. And that was followed up with a very stern piece of advice that the fee must be paid on time this year. And this year we've just had no communication with anybody whatsoever, with no response to any communication. The fee remains unpaid. We've breached the terms of the notice that I served. Therefore, my only recourse after a breach of the notice is to move to a premises license review, which is why we're here today. The board obviously decided to hold a hearing in relation to that review application, and at this hearing you're asked to decide whether or not a grounds for review exists. And if you do believe that the grounds for review exist relating to the ongoing failure to comply with the statutory notice and the ongoing failure to pay the annual fee, then I would ask that you make a finding that the grounds for review do exist, and the only recommendation I can make is that in all the circumstances that the licence is revoked.
Thank you. A couple of things I would like to ask before we move on. Is this in any way similar to the situation that we had with the bank? Where again, as a premise that was closed for quite some time?
Uniquely different in that the bank pays its annual fee on time every year and has done since, although it's been closed for a significant period. It pays its annual fee on time every year, and there's no doubt that their intention is to try and keep that licence alive. However, obviously, with the recent change in licensing policy, the other premises may appear before you in the future for a similar process.
Thank you, Bob. Secondly, you talked earlier on there about the legal representative for the Eagle Inn. Do we know if they still have the same or have any legal representation?
My understanding after the communication with the legal representative in July at the time the payment was made, that they held, I think the phrase they used was no standing instructions. If my understanding of that from speaking to their own legal representatives, that means that they don't formally represent them, but they may be able to. However, communication with that particular legal representative is over. They no longer work for the same company, so it would be difficult to go back to them and ask. It would just simply be difficult. I think it's my position, I suppose, is that if they no longer represent them, you know, they didn't claim to continue to represent them in July. As I say, the phrase used was no standing instruction. So I think my understanding of that is that they no longer represent them.
Okay, thank you. It's up to see.
Don?
It's okay, Chair. You covered my question about was there legal representation in the last known contact for that, which you covered with your question. So thanks for that, Chair.
Any more questions? Martha?
Thanks, Chair. Just a quick one. As no one from the actual pub when it was open have been found or spoken to?
So the company that owns the licence is shown on Companies House as, I believe, a dormant company, right? So they have a single director, but the address of that single director is the address that's held on the licence. That's the only address that we communicated with, other than the premises itself. But the dormant company status, my limited understanding of company law is that this would be a company that's set up simply to hold the licence. It sits in the background. It doesn't actually trade. You look at their accounts online and there's no financial transactions or anything connected with the company. They're just simply set up. It's quite common. We've come across it quite a few times in this area and across Scotland. The company is just simply set up as a holding company that holds the licence. There'll be various business reasons for that. Notwithstanding the possibility that if it runs into difficulty, it's much easier, to protect liabilities and things like that. That's my limited understanding. I can't offer any more of an explanation. But there is a single director named on that company. That director shares the same address as his communication address, if you like, as the address of the company. And that address is the address, just as an aside, is an office block that perhaps in the past housed an accountant or something, like a company secretary. I'm not quite sure, but they're certainly no longer there. There's no communication. The communication with that address has failed, and there's no telephone numbers or anything like that. Attempted to phone the business itself, visited the business. As an aside, I've visited neighbouring licensed premises and asked if anybody's seen anything got about, because the local licensed trader pretty familiar with each other, and it's kind of said, nah, they're long gone. They've not seen anybody near the place for some time. In addition, it's not mentioned in the report that I suppose it's important. I've spoken to the previous named premises manager, and she is an individual that's had no connection with the premises since that date in 2021. that are referred to as being possibly the last time that it was open for trade.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, we've been asked this morning to look at,
Can you put your mic?
always made a recommendation that the licence be revoked. And that, as that is one of the options that are open to the board. The other options being issue a written warning, make a variation of the licence, or suspend the licence for such a period as the board may continue. I would move that we revoke the licence. This gentleman or this company made no attempt to get in touch with ourselves, so I see no reason to do anything other than revoke the licence.
I would agree with that, Chair. There hasn't been anything happening for a good couple of years, and it's kind of pointless trying to chase somebody who doesn't want to be found, in my opinion. So, yeah, I would agree with that. I would second that.
So we revoke the licence as of today. Paul? I know you sent an email this morning about the
Statement of licence and policy.
yeah.
If it was not, just a quick update on, I mean, obviously you've had a chance to read the email that I sent yesterday. We are there. You saw the summary of the responses that are included. There was nothing of any great interest to the licensing board. A number of the comments made in the responses would relate to matters that are certainly not within the gift of the board to do anything about. A few matters that relate to policing. There obviously was an interesting comment that I took interest in about potentially harmful drinkers having access to post office services where alcohol and post offices share the same venue. It's nothing more than something of interest to consider. I don't think we would be easily persuaded to change our policy in relation to one comment of that nature. And that we will do exactly the opposite. It would restrict people from accessing, post office services. Some businesses may decide, if they were given the option of one or the other, that they make more money from the sale of alcohol than they do from operating a post office, and they may withdraw the post office. So I think one of the other licensing board members made a comment in response to that said, be careful what you wish for. And I think perhaps you're right, if we ever laid down an ultimatum on that particular comment, that you can either have your post office or alcohol licence. It wouldn't surprise me if someone gave up the post office rather than the alcohol licence. So I think it's an interesting comment nonetheless for the discussion. Nothing else raised any alarm bells. There's quite a lot of support between the actual formal responses and informal emails and conversations I've had for the home delivery, for the change in attitude to home delivery. Everybody I spoke to, or one business operator, suggested that he was surprised that it didn't have to be mentioned on their operating plan to be able to do it. So that was quite refreshing that everybody was on the same page with that. And I don't think there's really much else that we changed significantly in terms of the policy over what we've had for the last 5 years. And so we're just at the stage now where that draft version needs the new photograph handed to the front. We need to find somebody with the technical skill to do that. I can do it, but not in the correct way, if that makes sense. Somebody that can add it as part of the published package. And the last thing I'm working on, and we were working on yesterday, and I'll continue working on it today, is just going through the appendices, which didn't go out for consultation, that contains the proposed draft conditions. They will rely on a week-to-week basis, a month-to-month basis at the board for various applications. They are in a pretty good place because we put quite a lot of effort into making them much more simplified. At the last review, there's one or two that we've just simply never used, and take them out of the list. We've never used them, never found the need to use them. There's one or two slightly amended ones that we've used more commonly recently, and particularly the amendments to those that prefer single-use plastic glasses, to remove them and as a condition it still leaves that open as an option for anybody that wants to use single-use plastic glasses or any other type of polycarbonate glasses. So I think we just remove the list from the poor conditions, considering we've made a statement in the policy that we're going to try and move away from, insisting that operators use single-use plastic from an environmental impact point of view. And I think after that, it's just a bit of final proofreading, which I've done as I've gone along. And it's not certainly my area of expertise, but I've done it as I've gone along. And it's certainly a better place in terms of font, character size and stuff than it was before we started. And I would expect that in the next week to 10 days, at the longest, a final document will be sent out to everybody to have a look at. And then, by email response, we can agree that it's ready to publish and we'll post it on our website, and that's the job done. And it's been a bit of a slog time-wise, and it's much more time-consuming than I realised. Lindsay done a lot of the work on the last one, and suddenly realised, there's actually quite a lot of commitment to do it, and you can only do bits at that time, because there's only so much licensing policy you can read in a day and fix typing errors and stuff like that. So we're there, we're tiny bit late, and we're certainly a long way away from the last licensing board to publish a refreshed statement licensing policy. So,
Okay, thank you, Paul. Well, since this is the last meeting of the year for licensing board, the scheduled licensing board, so for this year, I'd like to wish you all a Merry Christmas and all the best for the new year.
And you?
thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Do our best to enjoy the festive season.